I want to speak about sensibility, like always. Sensibility.
Quiero hablar sobre la sensibilidad.
And you always say that when we make meditation, the body meditation, we become more sensitive.
Y siempre dices que cuando hacemos los yoga meditaciones nos volvemos más sensibles.
And for me it's true. Even I was very sensitive since I'm born.
Y para mí eso es cierto, aunque ya era muy sensible desde que nací.
I become more and more sensitive. I see more clearly things. Sometimes I have the impression I'm in the theater.
You're in?
Like in the theater.
Yeah.
Teatro.
Theatre, yeah.
Me voy haciendo cada vez más sensible y a veces tengo la sensación de estar en un teatro.
And when I see myself and when I see other people, and I can, you always say that you cannot listen to the mind of the people, but sometimes I can hear the mind of the people.
Y tú dices que no podemos escuchar las mentes de otras personas, pero a veces yo puedo.
And it's not me that I don't choose the people.
Yo no elijo a la gente.
And it's true that when that happens with someone I'm in love, it's beautiful because it's really, I feel no separation because I can like speak with him, or be in contact with him always.
Cuando me pasa con alguien del que estoy enamorado es maravilloso porque siento que no hay separación y puedo estar siempre en contacto con él.
But when I'm not in that case, it's a little bit complicated because I hear things that, in a certain way, it's not my. I don't know why I hear it.
Pero cuando no estoy enamorada es un poco más difícil porque escucho cosas que no sé por qué las escucho.
So I have that with the thoughts, the feelings, and even when I was younger, I could understand, or I was in contact with other worlds.
Así que me pasa eso con los pensamientos y los sentimientos, y cuando era más joven estaba en contacto con otros mundos.
And I understood strange things. I don't know, but perhaps for the normal people it's a bit strange, but for me it was like a teaching.
Y comprendí cosas extrañas, cosas que eran extrañas para otras personas, pero para mí eran enseñanzas.
And so my question is, what's the point of that?
Así que la pregunta es, ¿para qué todo esto? ¿Por qué recibo toda esta información?
You know, when you look through the lens of a completely defocused camera, you see nothing.
Sabes, cuando miras a través de la lente de una cámara que está fuera de enfoque, no ves nada.
So you're pointing the camera at the landscape, but it's completely out of focus, so that there's nothing showing.
Estás apuntando la cámara al paisaje, pero está no está enfocada, entonces no ves nada.
And as you focus the lens, the landscape slowly comes into view.
Y a medida que ajustas la lente, el paisaje empieza a aparecer.
So think of consciousness like a completely defocused field of sensitivity, openness.
Piensa en la conciencia como si fuera un campo sin foco de sensibilidad.
And as it begins to focus, objects begin to come into view.
Y a medida que empieza a enfocarse, aparecen los objetos.
And it goes on focusing until it gets to the waking state,
Y sigue enfocando hasta que llega al estado de vigilia,
in which objects are most clearly delineated.
en el que los objetos están delineados más claramente.
And as far as we know, the waking state is the most focused form of consciousness.
Y hasta donde sabemos, el estado de vigilia es el estado más enfocado de la conciencia.
But as consciousness focuses, it excludes everything that is outside the sphere of its focus.
Pero a medida que la conciencia se enfoca, excluye todo lo que está fuera de su
So the
foco.
narrower it becomes, the more clearly delineated are the forms that appear.
Así que cuando más estrecho se hace, se delinea más claramente la forma de lo que aparece.
But at the same time, the more narrow its range.
Narrow?
Estrecho.
the more narrow its range.
pero al mismo tiempo el rango es más estrecho.
That is why, for instance, as we fall asleep,
Esto es por lo que cuando nos quedamos dormidos,
the mind begins to relax.
la mente empieza a relajarse.
In other words, consciousness defocuses.
Y en otras palabras, la conciencia va perdiendo el foco.
The content of the dream state is much broader than the content of the waking state, but it is less clear.
Y el contenido del estado de sueño es más amplio, pero es menos claro.
And then it continues to relax back
Y continúa relajándose
through the so-called personal and collective unconscious and comes back to its own defocused field of pure sensitivity.
a través del inconsciente colectivo hasta que llega al estado de no foco.
Take that just as a model.
Toma esto simplemente como un modelo.
So what happens is consciousness focuses in the waking state. Their objects and selves come into high definition.
Así que la conciencia se enfoca en el estado de vigilia y los objetos y seres están en alta definición.
But as the mind relaxes, as consciousness relaxes, as the activity of mind relaxes, its field broadens.
Pero a medida que la actividad de la mente se relaja, el campo se amplía.
So more and more of the potential within consciousness comes into focus.
Así que aparece más del potencial de la conciencia enfocado.
That is why in meditative states, for instance,
Por eso en los estados meditativos, por ejemplo,
experiences that are not always available in the waking state are known.
se conocen experiencias que no están disponibles en el estado de vigilia.
Because in the waking state, consciousness is relaxing and therefore opening.
In the dream state. ¿No? Porque en el estado
In a meditative,
en el
in meditation, the consciousness is relaxing and expanding.
porque en el estado meditativo la conciencia se va relajando y expandiendo.
And therefore the field of experience is much wider than it is in the waking state.
Y el campo de la conciencia es más amplio que en el estado de vigilia.
So a mind that is accustomed to continually opening, expanding, relaxing,
Así que una mente que está acostumbrada a expandirse y relajarse constantemente
never comes all the way back to the narrow focus of the waking state.
nunca vuelve hasta al estado enfocado del estado de vigilia.
It remains open,
Se mantiene abierto,
sensitive,
sensible,
available to
disponible,
experiences that are, from most people's point of view, unavailable.
disponible a experiencias que desde el punto de vista de la mayor parte de la gente no están disponibles.
So, for instance, an artist is someone whose mind is not narrowly focused on the waking state.
Por ejemplo, un artista es una persona cuya mente no está enfocada muy estrechamente en el estado de
An
vigilia.
artist is someone for whom a chair is not just a chair.
Un artista es una persona para el que una silla no es simplemente una
A pair
silla.
of boots is not just a pair of boots. A face is not just a face.
Un par
A
de botas
landscape is not just a landscape.
no es simplemente un par de botas ni una cara, simplemente una cara ni un paisaje.
Because
simplemente
their
un paisaje.
minds are, to varying degrees, open, expanded, relaxed.
Porque sus mentes están abiertas, expandidas, relajadas.
And therefore, experiences that are outside the range of most people's mind
Y como consecuencia, experiencias que están fuera del rango de la mayor parte de la gente,
is inside the range of their mind.
está dentro del rango de su mente.
And this is in fact the function of the artist,
Y de hecho esta es la función del artista,
to bring into manifestation realms of the broader medium of our shared mind.
traer a la manifestación,
In Jungian language, to bring the contents of the unconscious into the conscious.
en el lenguaje junguiano, traer el contenido del inconsciente al consciente.
And the reason an artist often suffers is because they find it difficult to reconcile the breadth and the width of their experience with the narrow confines and requirements of the waking state mind.
Y la razón por la que los artistas sufren a menudo es porque les cuesta reconciliar la amplitud de su foco con lo estrecho que es el estado de vigilia.
And for this reason, this kind of sensitivity often causes people great suffering.
Yes.
Y por esta razón este tipo de sensibilidad suele causar gran sufrimiento a las personas.
But in my life I didn't because I had an artistic life. It really helped me a lot. It was wonderful. It was so rich. I just had to close my eyes to have ideas, and so I really liked it. But in the social life, or with my family, or people, or situation, sometimes I see things and I say to myself, why are they behaving like that? Why are they doing that? It's something fake. I don't like it. It's. And then I say to myself, I cannot judge that. And it's like I see behind the what's happened, and it's so. Sometimes make me so sad, because.
En mi vida como artista ha sido maravilloso porque podía simplemente cerrar los ojos y ver un montón de ideas y ha sido fantástico. Sin embargo, en mi vida familiar y de relaciones es mucho más complicado porque veo cosas que digo, ¿y por qué hacen eso? ¿Por qué sientan eso? Es como si no fuera cierto, ¿no?
Yes, an artist suffers on account of her sensitivity.
Un artista sufre como consecuencia de su sensibilidad.
And so it's for no reason. So no. Why to see that then? Why? But in the same time, I have to understand perhaps what is because I try to find something positive from that, So la meta, ¿cómo se dice la meta?
Intento encontrar algo positivo en ello.
La meta, en la meta.
La meta, the goal.
But there is something positive from that.
Pero hay algo positivo.
The purpose of your artwork when you were a designer
El propósito de tu arte cuando eras diseñadora
was precisely to bring the beauty that you sensed in the background of yourself into the foreground of experience and to make it available to others.
Yes, but
era precisamente traer la belleza que tú sentías en el trasfondo de tu experiencia al estado principal.
Yes, but I didn't have no problem with that. But my main problem is and my question is about the other things, the relations. And I try
No
to
tenía problema con eso. Mi problema es más en el otro aspecto, con las relaciones.
Yes, it can be difficult if you have this broader perspective. It can be difficult to relate with people who don't share your perspective, who have a much narrower point of view.
Si tienes razón, si tienes una perspectiva más amplia, puede ser difícil relacionarte con personas que tienen una perspectiva más estrecha.
They may feel threatened by you, for instance. You may make them feel diminished, and therefore they will be hostile towards you.
Se pueden sentir amenazadas por ti, ellas se pueden sentir más pequeñas y como consecuencia ser hostiles hacia ti.
As a way of avoiding the discomfort of that feeling.
Como una forma de evitar la incomodidad de ese sentimiento.
You have exposed the ego in them.
Has expuesto su ego.
And it's very uncomfortable.
Y es muy incómodo.
And rather than face the ego, they want to reject you.
Y en lugar de hacer frente a su ego, quieren rechazarte a ti.
And their hostility is really the defense of their ego.
Y su hostilidad realmente es la defensa de su ego.
But they in order to defend the ego, they justify it to themselves by saying, you are crazy.
Pero para defender su ego se justifican a sí mismos atacándote a ti.
Because as long as the ego thinks that you are crazy, it can avoid having to face itself or question itself.
Porque mientras su ego piensa que tú estás loca, puede evitar enfrentarse a sí mismo.
Yes, true. This is true. And if I can ask, so when I see all that, and it's true that sometimes I'm really sad, and so I try to not to judge, because I say, okay, even they lie just to themselves, and even sometimes to me. I say to myself, what are you doing? Why are you playing that thing? It's not honest with yourself,
Cuando
I-
veo lo que está ocurriendo, a veces veo que están como mintiendo y siento, ¿por qué te mientes a ti mismo? Pero a veces me están mintiendo a mí también y digo, ¿por qué haces eso?
And what I can do is that it's just forgiveness. It's a mirror of me, or what, you know, you understand? I
¿Qué
don't.
puedo hacer? ¿Perdonar? ¿Es un espejo de mí mismo? O
You know, even or just think, okay, they are not that. They are just awareness.
o simplemente pensar, ellos no son eso, son simplemente la
Yeah.
consciencia.
You only have to forgive them if you have first judged them.
Solamente tienes que perdonarles si primero les has juzgado.
But understand that their minds are conditioned by factors that are outside their control.
Entiende que sus mentes están condicionadas por factores que están fuera de su control.
Just like we know for our own minds, the conditioning of our own minds are conditioned by factors that are out of our control.
Igual que sabemos que el condicionamiento de nuestras mentes es realizado por factores que están fuera de nuestro control.
Did you choose to have a mind that was conditioned speaking French rather than Chinese? Of course not.
¿Elegiste una mente que fuera condicionada a hablar francés en lugar de chino?
So the conditioning of our minds is impersonal.
El condicionamiento de nuestras mentes es impersonal.
We can't hold a separate self responsible for it.
No podemos hacer responsable a un yo separado.
So I just have a bigger view than certain people. It's the only.
Say that again.
I just have a bigger view of the scream.
Yes, you have been blessed. Everyone in this room has been blessed with a love of truth.
Así que yo tengo una visión más amplia de la misma pantalla. Y Rupert dice, sí, todos en esta habitación hemos sido bendecidos por el amor a la verdad.
Does anyone here feel that they did anything to merit their love of truth?
¿Alguno de vosotros sentís que habéis hecho algo para merecer este amor a la verdad?
Or did you just find yourself with this burning love and interest?
¿O simplemente os encontrasteis a vosotros mismos con este amor que quema?
You ask me.
No, I'm asking all of us. It was something, if I ask myself, I didn't do anything to merit my love of truth. I just found myself with this insatiable love and interest.
Porque si me pregunto a mí mismo, yo no hice nada, simplemente me encontré con este interés insaciable.
That's a grace.
Y eso es gracia.
So just as we cannot hold ourselves personally responsible for our love of truth, we cannot hold anybody personally responsible for not being interested in truth or reality.
Así que del mismo modo que no nos podemos hacer responsables por nuestro amor a la verdad, no podemos hacer responsables a nadie por su no amor a la verdad.
I don't know why we're speaking about that. I didn't understand why you speak about that, but whatever.
No entiendo por qué hablas de eso, pero está bien.
Because you were, if I understood you correctly, you were speaking about your response to people who behaved in incomprehensible ways.
Okay.
Porque estabas hablando sobre tu respuesta a las personas que hablaban de formas incomprensibles.
Did I misunderstand you?
Perhaps a little bit better. I know it's very complicated.
Te me la he entendido quizá un poco.
So I want to know what I have to do with the negative things I feel with all those information.
Me gustaría saber qué puedo hacer sobre las cosas negativas que siento.
You mean your insights into other people, their motives, their...
Yes, when I feel discomfort or where you know, when I see the fakeness, or what I have to do is that.
Ha vuelto a decir lo mismo, que qué hacer cuando ve lo que hacen las otras personas y si ella siente incomodidad o...
Well, as much as possible, keep the company of people who share your love of truth.
Todo lo que puedas, quédate en compañía con gente que comparte tu amor por la verdad.
And if you find that yourself in situations such as family situations where you are compelled into relationship with people who don't share your love of truth,
Y si te encuentras en situaciones en las que estás con personas que no comparten ese amor por la verdad,
see that you have the broader understanding.
ve que tú tienes una comprensión más amplia.
So the onus is on you, not on them.
Okay.
So the what?
The onus is on you, not on them. The responsibility, not the onus. The responsibility is on your side because you have a broader perspective.
Y por lo tanto, porque tienes una perspectiva más amplia, la responsabilidad es tuya, no de ellos.
And your function in these people's lives is to bring your love and understanding into their lives to the degree that they are able to accept it.
Y tu función en la vida de estas personas es llevar tu amor y comprensión, llevárselo a ellas hasta el punto, o sea, en la medida en la que ellos lo pueden comprender.